Good morning, everybody, and welcome to episode 55. Out and About is back, and we are off to Indooroopilly today. Welcome along to you and to all the viewers out there. Well, my Out and About series will be coming to an end very soon, so I'm very sorry to have to tell you about it. Sad news for the Queensland viewers, but the good news for the New South Wales viewers. Okay, Sydney productions are recommencing, but in a different studio, and different setting. We will tell you about that in part two, I should say. But before we get on to today's episode of the Friday Bollocks, as Mark has correctly pointed out, we've been calling it the Friday Follies because it's a good name and it's the end of the working week as well. So guys, the Out and About series is coming to an end, unfortunately. Here's Mark to open the show with that, and episode 55. And the episodes are piling up. Here he is. Good morning to you. Welcome.
Thank you, Barry, and very happy to be here. Welcome, viewers. Barry's correct. We are possibly on our last Friday's Follies, but you never know your luck. There could be more, but we're going to treat it like the last one, and as a consequence, we're going to head off to Indooroopilly and put some amusement into the day. So we're looking forward to that, and there'll be more about what's coming up later in the show, obviously.
Later on the show.
And we're looking forward to bringing you another very happy edition of the Friday Follies.
So, just going back over Tuesday's episode where we created the chicken panini, we cooked some chicken, okay, we dredged it in some milk and let it sit in the fridge for a while, and it was really good. Here's Mark to tell you about it.
Well, we were trying to recreate the Soul Origin chicken panini. I should say it's all panini. And we didn't do a bad job, except for we had normal bread rolls instead of panini. So, but apart from that, it certainly hit the spot, didn't it, Barry?
It did. So we had quite a long episode in the studio, and like I said, I told you a bit about why I was leaving, and we will discuss that again today on the second part of in the show, and we will also talk about keeping the shopping centres clean too. We haven't brought that up for a while, so plenty more coming up on today's show and the Friday Follies. So, Out and About, like I've said, it's coming to an end. Here's Mark.
Well, we were given the opportunity to do the show on Fridays for a few weeks, and unfortunately it was always temporary, so it looks like today might be the last day for us and the Friday Follies.
But don't worry, guys, the show is going to be back on Monday and Tuesday, so plenty more opportunities for you guys to tune in and 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 see what we're up to. And like always, if you've got anything that you'd like us to cover, all you've got to do is write to us or phone us. Our address is 23 Mundy, that's Mundie Place, Bray Park, Queensland, and the postcode is 4500. And remember, if you feel nervous, don't worry, you don't have to write in if you don't feel like it. We respect your privacy. Here's Mark.
Thanks, Barry. We do recognise that people don't like to hand out their details. Feel free to send us suggestions, comments, etc., without any details, so that we can still take it on board, but you don't have to provide us with addresses or phone numbers or anything like that if you don't want. And we'll still be very grateful for the feedback.
So, out and about, guys. We've had a ball bringing it to you over the last couple of months, and we had a couple of setbacks as well. Here's Mark.
We have had a couple of setbacks, mostly circumstance that can't be changed, and health issues, etc. So there have been a few hiccups along the way, but they've all been temporary, and as luck would have it, we've been able to keep bringing the show together and getting it onto to YouTube so that you can see it.
And why don't you subscribe? There's nothing wrong with that. Here's Mark.
Absolutely subscribe. It's a technical thing that I'm sure Barry can explain to you, but I do not have the knowledge or expertise to even know what subscribing is.
Well, we're going to get ready now to go to Indooroopilly, but before we do close the first part or close the opening sequence, we'd like to say a big thank you for tuning in and thank you for your support and understanding about why I've had to leave. It is a very big decision I've had to make because, the shoe doesn't fit on the foot. What's the point of wearing it? Here's Mark.
Good analogy, Barry. It is a case of you didn't feel like you fitted the way you wanted to or the way you had in previous living arrangements. Not to mention that you were very homesick for your family and friends that you left behind, which makes a huge difference. So you made that decision for your well-being to head back to Sydney. And now that you've got the nod, it's definitely going ahead. And you can start to plan around timing and how long the show runs, etc. But we haven't got absolute final details yet, so we're still waiting on that.
So please do continue to tune in, okay, until I say bye-bye to you guys. It is a really tough decision, and I thought this was going to work, but unfortunately not. Here's Mark.
You've had to look after yourself and what's important to you. So in the fullness of the experience of moving here. It's not what you thought it was going to be. And I don't think you anticipated being homesick. So once you experience that, you realise that Sydney was where you want to be, and you made the right decision for you to move back there.
And special thanks to Derek for phoning me, and the meeting last Friday was excellent. Here's Mark to tell you about it.
Yes, last Friday's meeting was the meeting that essentially confirmed that your move was set in stone, and that now it was just organising the logistics of the move and waiting for quotes, etc. So hopefully we'll be getting to that part of the day where
And we will pause that. And we will continue the rest of this conversation at Indophilic. So don't you go away. The show is far from over. This is the Friday Frolics and episode 55. Here's Mark.
we look forward to catching up with you again shortly, and we'll be at Indooroopilly by then. See you soon.
See you soon, guys. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to part 2 now of Out and About, the Friday Follies, as Mark has called it, and welcome along to you. And we're glad that you can join us on this Friday, wherever you are. Well, today we're going to talk about the importance of staying safe on the roads during Christmas. But we will get to that in a moment. Out and About, guys, has been going since May, and we've had a great privilege bringing it to you. Here's Mark for his opening segment on this.
Thanks, Barry. Welcome, everyone. So, yes, it was May when we started, and as Barry said, it's been a privilege to bring this to you. It's been a great learning curve for me. It's been a lot of work and fun, I hope, for Barry. So, it's been a very, very valuable pastime for him.
So it is with sadness that we have to bring this program to a close because, as you know, I've been talking about going back to Sydney for quite some time, and it's not that I don't like you people up in Queensland. You are all awesome, and I thank you for watching, but under the circumstance, I've had a lot happen, and I don't deserve that. And the reason I'm going back to Sydney is because I've got all my friends and family down there. Here's Mark to tell you about it.
Thanks, Barry. It was a big move for you to come up here in the first place, especially not knowing what the circumstances would be, completely new living arrangements, particularly the people that you've got to share your living arrangements with. And whilst that isn't the driver behind you going home, it's certainly one of the factors. And the fact that you were so homesick early on, and I don't think the living arrangements were exactly what you thought they were going to be when you moved. So not surprised that you decided that you were ready to go back to Sydney, and now that it's been approved, all that anxiety's gone, and you're just looking forward to when it actually happens.
And homesickness, guys, is not very nice at all. Like firelight, you can't sleep at night, you lie awake worrying and tossing and turning, and you know, you're wondering what the next day will bring or what will happen. And that's exactly what happened to me. Here's Mark.
You did go through quite a long phase of being a bit depressed about the house and the fact that it wasn't exactly what you thought it was going to be.
Hi guys. Good, thanks mate. Love your vehicle.
Barry's just admiring the police beat van, which we are currently standing in front of at Indooroopilly. I can't tell if the boys are just gone into the back to eat lunch or take up surveillance.
So, police beat is like when they take up surveillance. Unfortunately, we cannot show you the vehicles, but there they are. You've got a sedan there and a big vehicle there. So, as I was saying, right, homesick is very uncommon. Well, it's very common, especially when you are away from your family and your friends. And I'm sure you felt like that, Mark.
There have been times when I've just wanted to go home, absolutely.
So, now that I am able to come out and bring the show to you, it's been an absolute privilege. So, we've talked about the history of Bray Park on many of the episodes, and so now it's time to talk about how to stay safe on the roads over Christmas. It is very important to stay safe on the roads over Christmas. We all know that you like to go home and visit your loved ones and friends and family for Christmas, but guys, you've got to consider a lot of risk and factors, such as how are you going to get to your loved ones via road? How long is it going to take you? Which route do you plan to take? Here's Mark.
It's very timely that you mentioned about which route do you take, given how many floods there are at the moment across New South Wales and Victoria, and how important it is to make sure before you go on any journey to plan the route and check to make sure that that route is still safe, because certainly at the moment there are lots of parts of central and western New South Wales and Victoria that certainly wouldn't be passable. So very important to check on road conditions before you leave, as well as your vehicle itself.
And it's very good that Mark did mention it, because central New South Wales is out west. Okay, and in Victoria at the moment, no good. So guys, really be careful about your planning and how you're going to go about it, because if you start thinking about it now and then you realize on the news that it is not possible, you will have to make alternative arrangements. Here's Mark.
Yeah, it's important to plan your route before you go, just so you can check on those exact things, that the roads are passable and safe. There's no point in planning a long journey just to risk your life. So always good to make sure that you're not going to put yourself in danger, and that if anything untoward was going to happen, that at least you would have a bit of pre-planning and be able to make some contingencies to allow for anything that might block your path on a particular route.
And always look on your websites too, guys, to find out when the floods will subside and the roads will reopen, because we know it's coming up to Christmas. But guys, if you can't get to your destination by road, get there by plane. Here's Mark.
If you can, it's a much quicker alternative, that's for sure. So, for instance, Barry will be driving to Sydney, flying to Sydney instead of driving, and the drive was going to be a 2-day ordeal, and the flight is obviously a standard flight.
And always check with your airlines as well, because if you are planning to fly to your destination, guys, work out when you can get the cheapest air ticket and how much it is going to cost you. But the most important thing, guys, is driving now. Work out what day is suitable for you, and how long you're going to be away for, because you've got to consider as well your pets, who's going to look after them, and who's going to look after your mail. Here's Mark.
Thanks, Barry. I hope, yes, that everything else is organised along the way. It'd be a terrible thing if you just decided to go on a 2-week holiday and not think about your pets if you've got them. So hopefully that's a bit of an automatic consideration for people when they're planning holidays, if they have pets, where they go, or who comes to the house to feed them, etc. But obviously you'll make your own arrangements for that.
And work out, and don't forget to cancel the milk and the newspaper delivery and the grocery order. Here's Mark.
Yes, if you have anything like that booked in on a weekly basis or any kind of basis, and you're going to be away when a delivery is due, make sure you cancel it, otherwise you'll be paying for it. And if you get milk delivered these days, good luck to you, but it'll be off.
And like I said with the chicken, guys, okay, eating more chicken, no, that is not right. Here's Mark.
Yeah, so when it comes to food hygiene, it's just a matter of making sure that the things that need to be kept cold are. And you know, one of the big things with items like milk is, I know people leave them out on the bench, and forget, and then an hour and a half later put it back in the fridge, the milk will not last if it gets warm. It's as simple as that.
Now getting back to the road safety. Now, don't drive while tying, guys, because you only have the one life, so don't risk it. Get marked.
There are numerous studies that indicate that tiredness is equivalent to drinking, and there's evidence that your capacity is impaired from being tired, so your reaction time's slower, your thinking is not as clear, your decision-making processes are different when you're tired, so driving tired is very dangerous.
And and something goes wrong, you're gone. So if you leave bike late at night and drive tired, guys, it's just not worth taking the risk, because I mean, like I've just said now, you only have the one life, so for goodness sake, get your loved ones safely this Christmas as well, and because your loved ones will be waiting for you. Fear not.
There's very good advice there, Barry. More important that you arrive alive than on time. So don't stress about when you're going to get somewhere. If it's going to take longer than you thought, so be it. But your life is worth a lot more than whatever event it is that you think you cannot be late for.
If you're going to be late, guys, be late. Because the destination you may be going to could take you up to a day or 2 days to get to. It's not.
It's exactly the same whether it's a 10-minute journey or a 10-day journey. If you're tired, you've got to make some other plans, or share the driving, or do whatever it is that you can do to minimise the risk of making bad decisions while driving tired.
And get a good night's sleep as well before heading out on long journeys. Because the road toll over Christmas can go zip, and then we hear about on the news about an entire family being killed. And that's all because they were either speeding, drinking, driving through the night to get to the destination, or in just too much of a hurry. Here's Mark.
Or they were killed by someone else who was failing the other list that you just gave. So, you know, you can kill innocent people as well as yourself by making poor decisions around whether you're fit to drive or not.
So think, is it worth taking the risk on those roads this Christmas? No. Take for example, I was going to sit in a van for 2 whole days. No. It's not good for my health, and anything could happen along the way. Here's Mark.
And your journey would be, it's quite tedious because the vans, as everyone who's ever caught maxi taxis know, are rattle traps, and you get bounced around a lot. It's not like you have a comfortable ride when you're in a car, Barry. So 2 full days of it is a daunting task.
And like I could be tired myself. Whereas if I'm flying, in this case, okay, I'm home in about an hour and a half, and I can settle in. But guys, please, this Christmas, arrive at your destination. Here's Mark.
Take the time and care to look after yourself. That's all it's really about, is you looking after yourself. So if you take the time and care to do that, you will have a safe journey.
But if you do something silly, guys, then you will know about it. Here's Mark.
Well, I think the silly would be either knowing that you're not in good condition to be taking control of the car. There's nothing positive that can be said about that. There's no prizes for struggling through, other than potentially not arriving somewhere where everyone's expecting you, which would be utterly disastrous.
And service your car too before you go. Make sure that it is in good condition before you go. Because if it's not and something goes wrong, you could be miles away from help. Here's Mark.
That's true all the time. So it's a stock standard thing that you should be looking at the maintenance of a vehicle and just making sure that, to the best of your knowledge, it is roadworthy and good to go.
And check your tyres as well, because you don't want to have to get in the car and get halfway to your destination, okay, and think, oh yeah, oh no, nothing's gonna go wrong with your car, when you know it is. So don't jinx it. Here's Mark.
I'm not sure what you were just saying, Barry, but I think it was you should check everything before you go driving on a long trip.
Yep, that's right.
Make sure that you've got, water in the radiator or whatever fluid goes in your radiator, and that you've got, the tyre pressures right to go on a long journey. And if you've got the car laden down with heaps and heaps of extra weight because you're carrying extra people and extra luggage, they have a recommendation that you need to pump the tyres up higher. So check your car recommendations for what the tyre pressure should be under what conditions. It's a bit different if you're taking 4 people and all their luggage to Sydney rather than just taking yourself to work in town for the day.
Okay, so please do take into consideration what we have told you today on the show, because you want to get to your loved ones and you give them the presents, give them the presents that you spend your money on. Here's Mark.
I'm not a big present buyer myself, but I'd just like to think that I was going to get there. I don't really care about getting the gifts there. I'd just like to get there myself.
And this is what today's show has been about. Getting to a destination arrive this Christmas. And we'd like to close by saying, please arrive at Christmas. And I'll just pause that.
So we'll look at the best options
Well, that brings to a close the show from Indooroopilly. Before we do go, I had a lovely chicken panini today, again with some chips, followed by a frozen Coke. So I want to...
You shouldn't be telling everyone that. I'm meant to be looking after your health, not trying to kill you. Chips and frozen Coke. It's just appalling, Barry. You need to take a good look at yourself.
I'm just, is that a joke?
Yeah.
So really, guys, it is the end of our Indooroopilly show, and please put your litter in the bin if you have finished with it. Here's Mark for his closing segment on this.
Thanks, Barry. It's one of our pet subjects, of course, and we often discuss the need to keep places clean for the general public, which is you and me, when we go to use things. So our recommendation is always throw your litter in the bin that's provided, and if you can't find a bin, just take it home with you and throw it away when you get home.
But don't go and leave it. Excuse me.
Yes, don't just leave it lying around where you've been.
Because it's unhygienic, and the number that we close each show on, okay, you know what it is, 000. Please don't be a fool with that number and ring them for frank, stupid issues, please. Because you could be putting someone at risk. Here's Mark now to take us out.
Again, another topic that's close to our hearts, and very consistently the approach is, it is an emergency service. It requires everything to be running smoothly to provide the best operation they can for genuine emergencies. And if you distract them from that, it is dangerous for the people that do need the service.
So please, guys, think is your emergency before you dial. And remember, play it safe on the road this Christmas. We will be back to wrap it all up with you at Bray Park. We hope that you've enjoyed the show today, and here's Mark to farewell you now.
Thanks for tuning in, and we do look forward to you staying with us until we do the final wrap up from the studio. But from Indooroopilly right now, it's goodbye.
It's goodbye, and we will see you back at the studio to wrap it up. Until then, see you back at the studio. Well, here we are now, back at Bray Park, everyone, and we've come to the end of another film. And another episode, I should say. Thanks for joining us here. This Friday, we went to Indooroopilly today and had some fun there. Here's Mark to reenact on that before we close it.
the show for until Monday at least. Here he is.
We had a wonderful day at Indooroopilly, and whilst I'm not going to reenact it because shocking mime, I am going to say that Barry had more to eat today than I think should have been humanly possible, but loved every mouthful. Not to mention, got a good bit of a fist pump up while we were at time zone, and yeah, we had a fantastic little trip out. And then, as luck would have it, Bruce organised to come and pick us up and turned up exactly on time. So absolutely everything went beautifully smoothly today.
So we hope that you've enjoyed today's episode of Out and About, and this has been episode 55 today. And the number that we rely on 24 hours a day, you know what it is. 000, please do not, and we repeat, please do not ring that number for stupid, trivial issues, please. It is only for emergencies. Here is Mark now to close episode 55 with that.
Barry, 000, very important to know, but it's also very important to respect. That number is for emergencies only, and any abuse of that is potentially going to be a dangerous situation for someone that needs the service. So please don't do it. That person might end up being you one day.
I may need it because I could be out and about with Mark, and some idiot has tied up the number for no reason. Would you call an ambulance if I was out, Mark?
If I needed to call an ambulance, of course I would.
So, please guys, think is your urgency an emergency? Please. And that's where we'd like to end episode 55 today. Thanks for your company, and we will see you on Monday at 10 o'clock. But until then, have a terrific weekend. Out and About, this is where we bring the show to you. And bye for now.
Have a great weekend all.
Bye-bye.